So without further ado, let us put our hands together and welcome the man himself, Ian Balina. Let's give it up to Ian.
Thank you, thank you. Wow. Hong Kong, we're here. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to say. Do I say, hey, what's up? Do I say, ni hao? Anyway, though, konnichiwa. Anyway, though, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here. You guys could be anywhere in the world, and you're here tonight. You're bringing your attention, your time out of your busy schedule just to be here with us. So just want to say a quick thank you to everyone here. Plus, it's a bear market as well. All right, so I think the fact we have a pretty big crowd here in the bear market goes to show that lots of people that are here still believe in this space long term, right? But anyway, just want to quickly introduce my team. We have Ugo over there in the back, 100X Advisors Managing Partner. Then we also have Diego over there as well, 100X Advisors Managing Partner. Then we also have our video team in the back, our video producer, Justin and Dan over there. Please stand up. They make everything possible. You guys see me doing the videos, traveling, all that stuff. These are the guys behind the scenes. These are the all-stars behind the scenes. We're all-stars. Not just something we talk about it on an ICO spreadsheet. Even the people we work with are all-stars. All right, so in terms of this Crypto World Tour, what is it? What exactly are we trying to do this for? Initially, this began as us just traveling the world, crypto retirement. I was working at IBM. I said, okay, you know what? I want to do crypto full time. I have the freedom now to do anything I want, anywhere, because crypto, you can do crypto anywhere on a computer. You can be on a beach, on an island. So that was cool. Went to Thailand for a month. That was fun. Went to Korea. Then after a while, I had this very big community that was slowly starting to bubble up. And I told myself, I have to really meet the people who made this possible and just say thank you. So this Crypto World Tours began as just meetups. It was just me hanging out in some random country, whether Thailand, Korea, Singapore, wherever, and said, let me meet my community face to face, just to kind of do research and see who are these people I'm doing live streams to every single week that I've never really seen. And these small meetups began with 10 people, then 30 people. Actually, my first ever meetup in New York City is where I met Dan, my video producer, who's now made all this possible. So quick round of applause to him. So actually the funniest story is, he came to my meetup to pitch me an ICO, because he was working with a different ICO. But turns out he didn't pitch me the ICO, and I snatched him from the ICO. And the rest is history. But anyway, this meetups got bigger and bigger and bigger, and eventually we would have meetups in a bar, and we'd take over the whole bar. And we had to end up getting conferences, having ballrooms and events like this, and having our own events, because the audience got bigger and bigger, and the community got bigger and bigger, to a point we couldn't just show up anywhere. Because initially, I would just tweet about this event the same day and have 30 people show up. Then after a while, as it got bigger, we had to do more planning. So as it got bigger, we had to get people like Genesis Block and C Block Capital and other people in this space and really kind of partner with them and work with them, right? So as we're doing this world tour, it's now not just about us traveling the world, just trying to have fun. It's really traveling the world while finding people to partner with all over the world. Because now we can go anywhere in the world and say we have crypto families somewhere. Like we're here in Hong Kong. I'm sure next time we're here back here in Hong Kong, we have people like Genesis Block, C Block Capital that we can work with, you know, they can share deal flow, investments. One thing people say is, how do you find good ICOs all over the world? You have to physically go all over the world sometimes and build those face-to-face relationships. That's one thing I learned working in sales at IBM for 4 years, was face-to-face friendship, really, right? Because people have to first know you and trust you face-to-face and get to know you before they want to work with you, right? Because as a former IBMer, I'll be frank and tell you, for the most part, we did not have the best software, right? We had the Google, the Amazons, but one thing IBM had was the best sales team. They invested a lot in sales. I mean, I recall when I first joined IBM, my first year, I hopped on a plane all the way from Washington, D.C., flew all the way down to North Carolina for a 30-minute meeting. We were there 3 days and flew back. And I told my manager, I was like, why did we fly down here for a 30-minute meeting? We could do that via online. Why do it face-to-face? Why waste that time for a half an hour meeting? He said, face-to-face meetings are that important. They can make the difference between having business or no business. And IBM built this entire company from face-to-face meetings. So that's why I'm doing the same thing with my brand and traveling around the world, meeting people face-to-face, because I think it's that big and that vital. So anyway, who is Ian Balina? Quick show of hands. Who knows who I am? Okay, most people here. Who doesn't know who I am? Don't be shy. Okay, a few people. So I'll give you a quick intro on who I am. I'll try to keep this as short as possible. I have a longer video on my channel. If you just go on YouTube, search Ian Balina or Diary of a Made Man, any long video of me, you'll see my intro in there. But in general, I'm an ICO investor. Prior to that, I was working at IBM in analytics for 4 years. And I discovered crypto. Crypto was sexy, enticing. And I said, okay, this could really transform things, not just from a technology standpoint, but also from just a financial independence and wealth transfer standpoint. Because I kept on reading about how this was the biggest transfer of wealth ever in human history. And I wanted to be a part of that. Because I had a friend of mine called me. He was trying to get me to put him in touch with IBM's director of blockchain. I said, okay, if I go to this guy, you have to tell me what all this stuff is about. He said, oh, I'm a blockchain developer. I've been working on Bitcoin. I've been investing in Bitcoin. I made 200% just hodling Bitcoin. I said, what's hodling? Wait, you can make money on Bitcoin? And that's when my perspective began to shift. Because initially I thought Bitcoin was just this dark web thing, just for people trying to buy drugs, do bad stuff on the dark web. But once he told me you can actually speculate on this, the same manner you speculate on the stock market, and the returns were much better, that's when I had to really look into it and kind of question my beliefs. So I dabbled in Ethereum and Bitcoin. I got in around October 2016. I got in slowly, didn't go heavy, just about $100 worth of Bitcoin and $100 worth of Ether, US dollars, not Hong Kong dollars. I've been trying to figure out the difference. When I did that, I then began to invest in my education. I began getting books. I got books like Digital Gold, The Age of Cryptocurrency. I sat down and just read those books. And as I read those books, I actually really understood the technology and the space and the history, where it was and where it's going, and why it was very innovative. Then I began to invest more and more. Back then, I was just more of trading and hodling. I began going to conferences, went to my first cryptocurrency conference called Token Summit in New York City. And that's when things really changed. I went from just being somebody just hodling Bitcoin and Ethereum, or just swing trading, random trades on Poloniex, and just being part of the troll box. I met people who were in this space for a while, but I met my first crypto millionaires. So going back to the face-to-face meetings, right? I went from just doing research and reading stuff about crypto online to meeting people face-to-face at events like this, and getting to know them, having dinner and drinks with them, and asking them their story. And I discovered that most people were making money as investors from something called ICOs, initial coin offerings, not really trading. And that's when I knew I had to look into ICOs. So after the conference, I go back, look more into ICOs, and I thought I had a golden ticket. I thought I had found the best way to make money ever. So when I came back, I was investing in every ICO that could walk, any ICO. I was not really I was just investing in anything. And it was a bull market, so some ICOs were doing pretty well. But I wasn't making the returns I was expecting. And I had a goal of quitting my 9-to-5 job at IBM by the end of the year, in 1 year. So I was trying to make 1,000x and 100x, not just the 1x or 2x. So I went back to the drawing board and said, how can I really get an advantage here? And if you go to the trading world, you basically have an edge, right? Every trader has an edge. So I tried to apply the same concept to ICO investing. And I said, okay, what is my edge? What is different about my personality, my background, that gives me an advantage over somebody else? And looking at that, it was data and analytics. I worked in IBM for data and analytics. I've been featured in the Wall Street Journal for data and analytics. So I said, okay, let's look at the data for ICOs. So one weekend, I just gathered as much data as possible on ICOs and try to find patterns in the data, try to find insights in the data, trying to see, okay, what exactly can I get from this to optimize and make my time more efficient and find the really undervalued ICOs? And this is what ended up now being called token metrics. So I began doing this via spreadsheet, and the whole summary on token metrics is I basically use the 3 sigma rule to gather as many data points as possible and see, okay, how far do these ICOs, the best ICOs of all time, based on an ROI perspective, based on a return on investment perspective, how far do they deviate from the mean? Then I turn this into a grading system, and I grade upcoming ICOs based on this grading system. And I began just kind of sharing this publicly on my social media channels, on YouTube, Telegram. I believe in open source a lot. I've always believed in just having free education for people who want to invest and learn more. So that's why I launched my channel and my platform, and everything has always been free. And I just open sourced my spreadsheet, shared this with the whole world. And after a while, we kind of began to really have lots and lots of success, to a point people couldn't really deny it. Because in a space filled with, you could say, if you're being very conservative, 80% of ICOs are scams. Scams meaning you lose money, right? 80% of ICOs, you will lose money. But in a space like that, using token metrics, personally, I was able to double and triple my returns compared to when I was just investing based on my gut feeling, based on just random people who were famous backing a project. Using the actual data and finding patterns in the data gave me an actual edge. But not only that, it came to a point where in a space filled with 80% of scammy ICOs, or ICOs where you would lose money, we're making money 80% of the time. To a point the average return on an ICO was 4 or 5x. And as this was happening, and everything was being live streamed and shared, I was sharing everything in my spreadsheet, my trades, when I would get in, when I would get out. Everything was public, kind of like on a blockchain, like a public blockchain, basically, the spreadsheet. And things just kind of went viral the more ICOs we got. And things went crazy in December, because when the bull market came, we hit Icon. We had Icon ICO, ended up doing 100x in December. We had Wabi ICO, ended up doing 100x in December, the same month. And we had Dragon Chain ICO, ended up doing a 50x or 80x, depending on when you sold, right? So we had basically 200x ICOs and a 150x ICO in the same month. And that's when the crypto world just kind of went ballistic, and my influence kind of got bigger and bigger, and that's kind of really put me where I am today. But anyway, that's kind of the short version on that. I don't want to take up too much time. In terms of the agenda, we want to have an ICO pitch. This is now kind of the main portion of this Crypto World Tour. So we came all the way here trying to find the next big ICO. So who's seen any of the last pitches we've had on our world tour? Show of hands. Which one did you see? Matic Network, okay. So I think this is one of the most powerful parts of the world tour, because we can really crown the next big ICO. What do I mean by that? So ICOs I personally have invested in, some I've even advised in, like Nucleus Vision came from an event like this. Sparkster, they flew in from London to our event in Amsterdam, pitched, the audience chose them as the winner, and the rest is history. They were one of the biggest ICOs of the month. We had Matic Network crowned as a winner in India, Phantasma as well, right? So almost it's now kind of becoming like this traveling Shark Tank. We travel around different regions in the world trying to showcase and feature upcoming startups building great things in the blockchain space, right? So with that being said, who's here to pitch an ICO? Jake and Ugo, you guys want to help? I think we had 3 already, right? Okay, you guys have an ICO to pitch? Okay. Anybody with an ICO to pitch, please come here in the front. And can we get a second mic, please? Okay, so we got 1 ICO. Where's the second ICO we had?
Thursday.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, we have 2 ICOs. No, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right? And there was a third one. Oh, 1, you guys are different?
We're the same.
And you're the same.
1, 2, 3.
Oh, different ICOs. Oh, sorry, 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 ICOs. All right, so this is how it's gonna work, guys. Think of this as kind of like Shark Tank, right? Except for crypto, right? And the winning ICO, so we have 3 ICOs. Each ICO will get 3 minutes to pitch, right? 3 minutes to pitch.
Tokenized real estate on the blockchain.
Oh, we have one more?
He wants to pitch now.
You have an ICO, Matan?
Yeah, I'm working, yeah.
Oh,
I'm working on, yeah.
okay, all right. Okay, we have 4 ICOs now.
Careful, for sure, why not?
Okay, so we have 4 ICOs. They'll each get 3 minutes to pitch. We'll have a panel of judges. So let's first welcome the judges. We'll have Diego.
Hi guys, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you guys very much for coming out. Hong Kong is so far, it's beautiful, beautiful people, beautiful culture. My name is Diego Lara. I'm a managing partner at 100X Advisors. We launched this advisory firm about a month and a half ago, right? And basically we help structure mature blockchain related projects with our services. Some of the services that we offer: strategic partnerships, strategic investors, token metric analysis, which was actually created and developed by Ian Balina, legal support, and one of the most important features is really the platform. We give ICOs the platform to gain global scale awareness, right? So the projects that we advise, we take them with us, touring, we give them the stage, and they really get the exposure on a global scale in different continents, different countries, different parts of the world. So our other managing partner, Ugo, please come on stage.
Welcome, Hong Kong. My name is Ugo Nduago, but don't worry about my last name, just go by Ugo. It's simple. But it's nice to meet you. Great crowd here. It's amazing to be in Hong Kong. The first time we came was about 6 months ago. And I remember, if you guys watched the video, me and Ian we were sitting in Victoria's Peak, pointing at an icon and one chain, you know, when the investments go big. And now we're back here. It's nice to meet everyone and have an official conference. So welcome everyone, and I hope you guys learn a lot from this show today.
All right, thank you. And then we're gonna have one special judge from the guests here. Who wants to be a special judge? Who wants to volunteer? Maybe you? Okay, all right. And what is your name?
Sandy, crypto lawyer in this space, located in Hong Kong.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's have the judges get into the seats here. We'll have the ICOs please take a seat over here. Actually, we need more chairs up here, I think. Yeah, hold on.
Since you were the last, we'll go last, that way you can...
Okay, first ICO up, let's have Matan. Please. Okay, so you have 3 minutes to pitch the ICO to the audience.
All right, 3 minutes. That's 2 more than I'll need. How many people here in the audience own real estate? Here in Hong Kong? Anywhere?
One second. All right, we're gonna time it. So let's get the 0 to 100 real quick. Green light. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
All right, there we go. So how many people in the audience here own real estate here in Hong Kong? Globally? Anyone? Okay, how many people aspire to own real estate and have a piece of property somewhere in the world? Okay, great. So we have people who are real estate smart. So I'm going to tell you about real estate on the blockchain. So a lot of talk has been happening around real use cases for the blockchain. One of the most real use case is real estate. It's sort of a natural way of being able to make sure that people actually own what they say they own and to enable the passing of value. And one of the other big uses of blockchain is being able to create fractionalization of ownership. And real estate is sort of the perfect thing for that. So in this particular case, I'm talking about Real Fuel. So this is a company that I'm an investor, a founding investor in about 3 years ago. And we pioneered crowdfunding of real estate from Asia into global markets, earning north of 20% typically on a project. And we've already raised and deployed more than $45 million into various projects around the world. Now we're marrying that with blockchain. And what does that do? For the people, for all of you, It gives you a chance to be able to own a little piece of real estate somewhere around the world. Now, sometimes the returns are higher in overseas markets. Australia, you can get 18, 20% on real estate, not that difficult. UK's been really good, and that's and that's actually quite excellent for people who are sitting here in Hong Kong getting 2, 3%. This gives you a chance to go global. So the way it basically works is we have a crowdfunding platform, we have a utility token, and phase 3 will be to launch a real estate security token platform. And the benefits to the people is to be able to access real estate globally. The benefit to project promoters, developers, or asset owners is it enables you to take your project, put it on the blockchain, fractionalize it, and sell it. Democratization of real estate. So, any questions? Okay. All-Star team, we are licensed in Singapore for crowdfunding. We're working closely with the Monetary Authority of Singapore. We help to shape the rules for crowdfunding, and now we're continuing to work with MAS to define the rules for how blockchain can be used for the securitization of assets. We are a licensed broker-dealer as well. Thank you all.
Can you tell us the name of the project again?
Project name is Real Fuel.
Real Fuel. All right. Thank you, Matan. Okay, next project. We'll give you 3 minutes to pitch your idea. Are you ready? Go.
Well, first of all, I want to thank Ian for having me on stage and the good people of C Block for inviting me last minute. So my name is Jack. I'm from Izon. We're building a decentralized influencer economy to solve the volume issue of the current influencer economy. So the current influencer economy is a $70 billion industry, largely based on traditional modeling agency methods. So as a result, 80% of global influencers are not being well serviced. So from our perspective, this is where blockchain technology comes to solve the issue through smart contracts. So
you still have time.
sorry. Sorry.
So why your project?
So the basis of our project is to empower the existing KOLs that are under service, but also to an extent the consumer influencers that follow them. So our team consists of myself. I've been in the KOL industry for 3 years. Consists of my CTO, who has been in social media for more than 15 years, and also consists of
No worries, no worries.
Excuse me?
Soldier through.
Yeah.
Hold on, so I have a question though, kind of a tough ball. Historically speaking, influencer ICOs have done horrible. Not just below ICO price, like
Yes.
90% below ICO price. Right, like in the hash, which is an ICO we invested in. And ever since then, we personally have not been bullish on that space. So why is this different?
Well, we're different in the sense that we are not trying to approach this as an agency platform with a software or with a blockchain aspect to it. We are trying to be a SaaS platform to be able to engage in every user in the existing influencer economy, to allow, for example, for the brands to not just to engage micro-influencers to drive volume, to create viral marketing effect, but also to allow them to engage in a new class of consumer influencers, which are basically the followers.
All right, and time is out. It's done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you very much.
Sorry, just give me 1 minute.
Sure. Can I start? Just.
Not yet. Soon.
Ian asked me, hey, do you have an ICO? You want to pitch? Yeah, sure, let's go.
Sorry. Okay. So tell us your project. Tell us your project name and your name.
Sure. So my name is Eric, and the project name is Zoop. So Zoop basically started in 2015.
Okay. Wait. And start.
No. Okay. So Zoop started development of the product in 2015. We have the office 1 minute walking from here. We have 55 people working, most of them developers around AI, machine learning, and we have spent until now $12 million in product development. We are doing the ICO now, but the most important is to explain what we are doing, of course. So Zoop is kind of a search engine only for e-commerce, where you find the best deal that you are searching for, and already including shipping costs. So if you search for an iPhone X, at the moment, if you Google search, you need to open 5 different websites, compare prices, and you spend 1 hour searching for the best price. With Zoop, we give you immediately the best price in the market. What we are doing behind the scenes is we are crawling every e-commerce website in the world and give you the best price, including shipping costs, because our engine, our AI engine is doing the checkout process and guaranteed stock. The customer, the user is actually buying directly from the e-commerce website, and you can pay with the normal credit cards, or we can pay also with any major cryptocurrency and our Zoop token also. More utility for the Zoop token, so you can pay to any e-commerce website with the Zoop token. The e-commerce website actually is receiving the payment with credit card, with a prepaid card, but from the user point of view, is paying with Zoop tokens. The Zoop token can also be used for rewards, so any brand can reward users with Zoop token. We are also using the Zoop token to reward the crawling pool, so people can kind of mine Zoop tokens, crawling e-commerce websites for us. So they install a website and you borrow us our CPU and GPU to crawl e-commerce websites for us. We are launching next month in the UK. We are beta testing at the moment. And if you are interested, I can also do a product demo. I have the app on my phone. How many times do I have?
40 seconds.
Okay, great. So we are at the moment running the ICO, have raised until now from institutional investors around $10 million, plan to raise a total of 30 million. The public pre-sale starts on the 28th. And our product basically is, the essential is that you can search any product, get the best deal in the market. You can pay with crypto, you can pay with Zoop token, and the Zoop token have a ton of utility inside the app. You can receive rewards, reward the crawling pool, and also any partner that wants to use, any retailer that wants to use Zoop app can have access to our SDK and need to
stake
tokens to
thank you very much.
Thank you.
And now we have one more ICO left in the first round. Please tell us your name.
My name is Vadim. Let me know when I can start. So
your name and the project.
Holdex. Holdex name.
Okay, all right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Go.
So hi guys, thank you very much organizers for letting us give a speech on the stage. We're also a little bit surprised because we didn't expect that. So my name is Vadim. I'm co-founder and CEO of Holdex, and this is my co-founder Georgia. She's a CMO, and we have another co-founder who is the chief product guy. He's not with us. So how many guys of you are entrepreneurs or entrepreneuring or ever have tried to start entrepreneur, freelancing, whatever, like doing businesses? Cool. Have you ever thought about doing fundraising? Yes? No? Yeah, so was it hard? Is it hard, right? So I'm an entrepreneur, let's say for 10 last years, and I have like 5 startups. Most of them were not successful. I hope this one will be successful. And when I faced the stage when I supposed to raise funds, I realized that I either focus on the product and my customers, so I'm going and I can do fundraising, like starting business modeling, like building all the spreadsheets and so on. And I was struggling, and then I met Georgia in our other startup, music-related startup, and we were helping our customer to build the front-end application for the music coin. It's called Music Coin. I don't know if you heard about them. They like forked from the Ethereum in the early stage, and they didn't raise ICO, but they have a big community around that. So we realized that the ICO is a great actually way to do the fundraising, and we really believe that when you do the fundraising, you should fundraise from your direct customers or your basically supporters, backers, however you call them, rather than going and pitching the VCs, because the VCs, they just look on the spreadsheets, they don't really understand your product, they don't really care about who you are, what kind of problems you're solving, what is your really background, why you're having these problems, and so on. So now we're having a decentralized crowdfunding platform. We have 9 customers, we have identity verification system, so we're solving, how they call it, scam problem as well. We're like doing due diligence on the founders, the CEOs, on the initial funds. We are integrated and partners with the Dow Jones. BlockPass is the identity verification system. They are a seed investor. We just closed our seed round the previous week. Coin firm for anti-money laundering, and we also provide the decentralized application for the community to directly invest in the project. So we're basically ICO for the ICOs. Yeah, basically that's it. We're helping startups to fundraise and do it directly through the community, and we providing the platform which let transaction be peer-to-peer, like in the old times when people come to the market and they can trade directly with each other, rather than doing it through the intermediates or through the banks or through the brokerage firms, or even though, like, let's say, if you want to go public, you go to the exchange market, and it's expensive and it's super complicated. We do it really easy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, let's have you stay on stage. Let's have all the ICOs that just pitched come back here on stage. All right, so
Thanks.
let's just give everyone a quick refresher on what they pitched about and which ICO was. So tell us your name again.
Eric, and the name of the project is Zoop.
And tell us in one sentence again what your project does.
E-commerce search engine, find the best deal in the market and pay with cryptocurrencies.
E-commerce search on a blockchain. All right, thank you.
My name is Vadim. Our project called Holdex. We provide a decentralized crowdfunding platform for token issuance, distribution, and community outreach of the crypto investors.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Jack. I'm from Izon. We're a decentralized influencer economy blockchain SaaS platform designed to allow existing influencer economy to take advantage of blockchain technology and also to empower micro-influencers and also
one sentence.
Okay. And
do that again.
Spread blockchain to the rest of the world.
Okay, so let's do that again in one sentence. What is the project?
Okay. So we are a decentralized influence economy, SaaS-based platform to empower the influencers to really understand blockchain and...
Okay, so influencer SaaS-based platform.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hey! What's up? Real fuel! Real estate on the blockchain. Fractionalized real estate that you can own.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's get all of you guys onto one side. Yes, this side. And now we'll have the judges tell us their thoughts, starting with Ugo. So out of the projects here, hold on, so we have 2 projects, right? 4 projects. We can actually do 2. So pick your top 2 projects.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you guys for coming out. It's not the easiest thing to, pitch on the spot in front of, new people. So I really appreciate the time and being able to explain your project. The projects that I like or I would like to learn more about is, well, Real Fuel for the first one. I think real estate has a real use case, but so far real estate projects haven't done well ROI-wise. So I would like your explanation on how you think you can be different. Maybe you can, convince us and the crowd why you think your new project can be, maybe a way to get mainstream adoption, through real estate. So I would like to hear more about that. The other project that I would like to hear more about is, I would say, Holdex. Whenever you guys, choose to launch your ICO, I think you have, a good project that I think definitely has a use case, in the ecosystem as well.
So Holdex and Real Fuel with 1 vote each. Okay, Diego.
All right, guys. First of all, thank you guys for coming up and presenting. I know it's not easy, so yeah, I appreciate it. All right, so the 2 projects I like or I want to learn more about is ZWhoop. All right, I'm curious to see how you're gonna manage the microtransactions, how you're gonna protect yourself against volatility. All right, and then the other one is Holdex, correct? Yeah, I mean, it's crypto space. We need these services. I think there's a lot of companies already operating with these services. So I want to know how you're going to be different from them, how you're going to overtake the majority of the market. So as of right now, I would have to go with those 2 companies.
So Holdex with 2 votes, ZWhoop with 1, Real Fuel with 1.
No pressure.
The tiebreaker. Dramatic music, please.
Ian, will you be giving your analysis as well, or does it end here?
No, I will be staying out of this. I'm like Switzerland for now,
Okay.
until the next round.
Got it. I really like Matan's presentation. It was very much lively and it connected with me, being a property investor myself, and I do feel that you caught everyone's attention here. At least you saw the real use case, because I saw so many hands shoot up when you said who owns property and who's looking to own property. I think almost every hand was up. I really like the fact that the team has execution expertise, previously have done sort of asset management and are in this space for the long term, because you've actually looked into an STO, which is very, very different to a lot of the projects that I've seen. So the fact that you want to take the proper regulatory route is a huge plus in my books. So Matan's Real Fuel. And last but not least, I really like Holdex. The project is very promising in the sense that you really look to building your community first and not running to the VCs for the funding. I think ultimately what makes a project have that sort of viral effect is really community grassroots first. So the fact that you look to them for the funding first is remarkable, and definitely a different way of seeing how to fund projects. Now, my real question to you would be, if you're going to be an ICO platform for other ICOs, have you looked into the regulatory issues around this? Because there have been other platforms similar to yours who have failed to do so and have taken dramatic turns in their fundraising process. So that's one thing you may want to look at.
All right, thank you. So that is a clean sweep for Holdex. Congratulations. Moving on to the next round. Come on up. Come on up. And then Real Fuel is going to the next round. All right. Okay, hold on. Wait, sorry. Oh. Okay, so next round we'll have the 2 of you do a face-off. Right? Okay, so we'll start with you guys. Let's give them the mic. All right, so in this round, the judges get to ask questions. Each judge can... Why do we keep getting that? Okay. Okay, so I'll start with one question, right? We'll go through, each judge gets to ask one question, right? First question I have is, tell us about your team. What also do you have on the team?
Sure. We are 9 people right now, so it's 3 co-founders, 9.
9 people?
9 people, yeah.
That's full-time?
Full-time.
No part-time?
No
contractors, no outsourcing?
No. I mean, we outsource sometimes, but it's not included.
Okay.
We outsource something which is not part of our daily routine. So 9 people. I'm co-founder, CEO, and CTO. Georgia, CMO, and she's responsible also for customer service and customer success.
What companies have they worked for in the past? Can you kind of go through their work history?
I'm sorry? Me personally?
No, your entire team. Like, tell us like your three best
sure.
all-stars on the team and why you think they're all-stars.
So I'm not going to start with my like early stage background, right? I mean, it's probably not very interesting. I'll start from day to day. So before the Holdex, me, Georgia, and our other co-founder, we were working for the same startup, music-related technology startup here in Hong Kong. And yeah, basically the startup didn't went well, and we decided to stay firm as a team because we really enjoyed working together, and we had skill sets which complement each other. And we saw the opportunity in the ICO space. And besides just ICO itself, we have a vision and we have a mission, and we faced a certain similar problems. And that's why we see, like, let's say, crypto is just as a technology, like blockchain is a technology which can solve those problems, because it's enabling certain things which were not possible to do.
Okay. Now, does the whole team come from a small startup background? Anybody
Yeah.
in the
Everyone.
team come from
Everyone.
any
Besides Georgia worked in a big company, IKEA. In IKEA, in Nokia Siemens.
IKEA?
And Nokia Siemens as well.
And Nokia? How long were you
Nokia
working?
Siemens, it's a joint venture.
Okay.
Like
How long were you working at those companies?
IKEA for 4 years, and Siemens for 1. It was just after university, but IKEA, yeah, is a management position. So
We would call that an all-star, for those who follow my videos. Okay.
There you go.
Anybody else who's worked for companies we may know of?
Maybe few advisors. We have advisors which are not a part of the team, but they are our advisors.
I mean,
so
just the
yeah,
core team for now.
like a Russian national bank, like it's called Alpha Bank. Oh, sorry, Alpha Bank. It's Sberbank. It's a national Russian bank. This person also studied in Stanford doing MBA. Yeah, so this is
okay.
Well, thank you for the answers. My question would be, what is your token utility? Like, how would...
So basically, it's coming down to the revenue models. Right now, we don't have our own utility token yet, because we decided to start by building product first, and this product is enabled by the Ethereum network, so it's already decentralized platform, and we're helping to enable other tokens. Right now at this stage it's on utility, but we're looking towards security, because we believe that this is the future. There will be no paperwork anymore. This will be all on the blockchain. So our token will be enabling and supporting our existing revenue models, which is a subscription fee. We charge for subscription monthly. We charge for KYC ML checks, which is identity verification, anti-money laundering reports, and risk screening. Then right now we have an agency model, which we're going to remove, because we just kickstarted the startup and we're relatively flexible and we highly customizable. Let's say it's probably not be enabled by the token itself. And commission fee, we take the commission, and our token will be just at this stage ERC20 and ERC721 token based, which will be swappable. So people trading our platform will be able to swap the tokens. We're partnered with the Total. Total is a decentralized exchange, a liquidity aggregator, decentralized liquidity aggregator, Dallas-based, US-based startup as well. So it's just about interswapping. It's not about our token itself. I mean, like, it's not about the token. Token just enables to do crowdfunding, or just to, let's say, assign a certain ownership to the asset, right? Like, for example, I think it's a great use case doing the properties. We thought before that, but we don't have access to the licensing and all this kind of stuff. Before that, I was thinking doing the same stuff.
All right, so obviously you guys are very early on in this whole entire phase, but tell us about your token metrics, if there's any as of right now, and if there's not, what do you guys plan on? What's your hard cap? How much are you selling publicly? And each percentage of what you're going to use, what you're going to keep for.
Actually, we're still on the developing the model itself as well. So we are already profitable company. We're a startup. I mean, we're lean. It doesn't mean that we're like super rich and we spend lots of money, but we're profitable. So we're not looking that much for fundraising as it is. It's not like we have a plans for 5 years and we need $100 million and that's how we're going to spend it, because I don't believe in that stuff. I don't believe that people can predict 5 years product development, especially in the IT, in the modern world. So for us, it's more about user acquisition, because for us, distributing our token is something more than just fundraising. It's basically going to the mass, acquiring users. So we're planning not to have a hard cap. We're planning to have a soft cap of 10 million US dollars, but no hard cap. Because for us, our token is going to be purely utility. So the more tokens users have, the more possibilities unlocked on the platform for them and for us as a user base.
Thank you. On that point of user acquisition, what is your strategy?
Our strategy, we are building our resellers network. We already have existing resellers, so it's basically sub-licensing. We're partnering with the different agencies, trying to partner with the funds as well, who bring projects and help projects. So this is, originally we started with direct sales, B2B sales. But then we realized that it's really hard. It's like the life cycle. I mean, like who is familiar with the life cycle of the ACOs? Like production line is very long, and like you need to capture them in the beginning, but you never know if they will reach the end. So we decided to focus on the end. And as we are not an agency, we're a software provider, right? Let's remember that we're not a fund or we're not brokerage or whatever. We're just a software. We're enabling startups to actually do the fundraising, like Kickstarter, right? Kickstarter is basically, and yeah. So
But
resellers.
So having the ICOs on your platform, you may fall within like a broker-dealer license under US regs. How do you avoid doing that?
We're a software provider. Is like Ethereum. Ethereum, for example, doesn't have a license, right? If you're going to be running and you're going to scam people, Ethereum has the maximum they have is a social responsibility. We are the same. But talking about that, we actually, right now we're working on with utilities. We require, while we're onboarding projects, we require a legal opinion from certified lawyers, I mean like real lawyers. So we're not working at this stage with the securities, even though we could, because I mean, we're software, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, and we are peer-to-peer. I mean, we're never between the users and between the backers and those who receive the funds. We don't keep the keys. We don't keep the funds. Nothing. It's a peer-to-peer.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. And then the next ICO, Matan.
Thanks, Ian.
Matan, question. In terms of, I would say, the execution expertise of the founding members, I know they have an existing business. What are they going to do with their asset management business as they focus on this ICO? Is there going to be a divide of attention or focus, energy? Can you please explain the team's intentions?
Absolutely. So this is actually all related. I think the easiest way to think of it is this is 3 different phases with 3 different companies. And one of the reasons why it has to be that way is from a regulatory standpoint. So phase 1 was creating the crowdfunding for real estate. And that has a direct use for development of new projects. And so that one's a licensed entity and now being connected to the blockchain. The next phase is a utility token, which is usable on that platform as a method of access and as a method of payment. And then phase 3, because regulatory-wise the world's not yet there, is effectively the T0 for real estate. It is security token exchange, which is going to allow existing asset owners to take fully completed assets, put it on, fractionalize it, and sell that out. So we are in process of helping the Monetary Authority of Singapore to shape the laws to enable that. So phase 1 is the crowdfunding. That's done. And phase 2 is utility token, access token, payment token. And phase 3 is the security token exchange. In terms of the way that the team is managing out the time relative to that, a lot of the team's expertise is on the legislative side. So we have one of the founders. She is a former Skadden Arps lawyer focused on real estate. And so she's really been driving a lot of that. The rest of us are finance and real estate people, as well as a very good core tech development team. And so phase one was really a lot of getting the regulatory right and getting that built. And then there is, and then moving on to the next phase and the next phase. And in terms of operating, we have a core operating team which continues to monitor that, but the founder's attention shifts as we develop the next phase and the next phase.
Got it. And in terms of the regulatory side of things, I think the only winning part about this project is if you have the buy-in from all the regulators, right? So what is your plan with respect to lobbying different regulators in different jurisdictions?
So in terms of Singapore, which is where we're domiciled and under the laws in which we operate, that's we're in constant discussion with MAS. We were part of 10 companies that were invited in to help shape the law for crowdfunding. And we are also part of an industry group which we helped to start, which is sort of the Blockchain and Securities Association for Singapore. So that's what we're doing a little bit on the influencing side.
Thank you.
All right, so I was actually part of Proppy ICO. Anybody here invested in Proppy? Did anybody invest in Proppy? Okay, so Proppy was also a real estate ICO. And the thing about real estate ICOs is that it sounds beautiful, but for me, the reality is that the market is not ready for real estate and cryptocurrency on the blockchain as of right now. I think we're still very, very, very early on in the stage. I think that we're really building the infrastructure of cryptocurrencies and blockchain, right? So what do you have to say about that? Like, how are you different? How are you gonna make an impact and really have investors adopt your token for its utility in its ecosystem, right?
So can you rephrase the question a little bit? I got the point about... Right.
So my question is, how are you going to have the mass adopt the token within your ecosystem? Meaning, in my opinion, it's very early on for real estate on the blockchain and cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if we think, so I actually agree with your point. So right now it's all about building the platforms and the infrastructure of the future of blockchain. So it's not time for maybe dApps, it's time for the rails and roads. And we think of ourselves as exactly that, as building those rails and roads. When we come in and showcase what we've done, we talk about what already exists. And then we do point to where we're going. But we're not talking about a securities token exchange as being fully ready right now. That is a phase 3, which we're building towards. What we have done, though, is we've built a community of more than 45,000 which have already invested in real estate projects with us. So we've already put more than $45 million worth of capital to work from that community, and that already exists. So there's already a user base of people who are using the crowdfunding platform, who are already putting money into real estate. Right? So now the question is, how do we take that towards the eventuality, which is being able to have security tokens that enable the transfer of ownership? And that's, quite frankly, well, we can break it down very technically into how we're doing this from a stable coin, a utility token, a security token, but that's maybe a little getting too much in the weeds. What I think is more important is how we're working with the regulators to shape the law, and how we are taking the existing base of investors and moving it onto the blockchain, and using blockchain as a way of streamlining the process of making these investments. Because you already have more than $45 million worth of money that's happened by doing very rote contracts, which is very inefficient, and it's gonna be much easier to do this once we can, once people can just put tokens towards a project. We have a $20 million hard cap.
Okay, that was my question. That was my question. So now I know you're raising 20 million. I would like to know your token allocation. How much goes to investors, the team, to marketing, And then furthermore, I would like you to kind of just explain in detail, like, what you will use the funds for. Is it for, for regulatory reasons, or to acquire more properties, or just an example?
Sources and uses of capital. So we are currently in the midst of the private sale, or early stages. The earlier platform was funded by a number of top-tier VCs, including 500 startups out of Singapore. Okay. I'm going to try to speak without this. Okay, maybe this. Okay, so the earlier platform was funded by a number of top-tier VCs, including 500 startups out of Singapore. In terms of where we're at now, we're still in the midst of private sale. We are phase one, working with a number of venture firms and kind of circling around that first block of foundational investors, and then we're opening it up to a more wide private round and then a public round. From a metric standpoint, we definitely want to have a stable ICO. So what we're actually doing is a 12-month release, so that it unlocks in 1/12 section, so for a 1-year period. The team is tied in. We have a 2-year vesting program and the same release schedule as everybody else. And in terms of uses of capital, a very significant portion is going towards regulatory, and I think on an equal amount also going towards technology and infrastructure. So it's about 25% regulatory, 25% tech and infrastructure, and the remainder is for operations and the building up of the ecosystem, which is, we also have a very robust program to go out and build out the partnerships and getting people onto the platform from an asset standpoint.
All right. So similar to Diego and Ugo's sentiment, I've done 2 real estate ICOs, and they've all been abysmal. So this is a space I'm personally not very, very bullish on. So I'm just kind of trying to get over that. But my question is, walk us through your roadmap, pre-ICO and post-ICO. So basically, walk us through your 12-month roadmap.
In terms of timing of the ICO process, or what we're kind of doing from a company building
everything,
standpoint?
milestones, what you guys have planned right now, what you have planned after you take investors' money.
Yeah, so I think where we're at now is probably a 6 to 8 month process of private sale and then eventually a public sale. So we're not feeling particularly rushed towards gathering out the capital. And simultaneously with that process is we are building the rails and infrastructure. And so that once the ICO happens, what we're envisioning is a 24-month period of onboarding users to what is at that point already a launched and ready platform, onboarding partner companies, onboarding asset owners to bring their assets onto the blockchain, and then from there, then going into phase 3 after a 24-month period, which is that security token exchange. And that gives us a 24-month period during which we're also working with the regulators to get the mechanics of that business ready as well.
All right, thank you. So, one last question.
Thank you. So from the moment you raise the funds, it's going to be 24 months till the security exchange is ready, correct?
Because a lot of it's dependent on the traction with the regulators, that's not a fixed number, but that certainly is the roadmap.
Right. So one of the issues that I'm seeing is that ICOs are launching without really, in this case it's a little different, but a main net, right? So from the moment you raise the funds to the moment the main net is launched, when there's a very large spread, it's very difficult to maintain a token price above ICO price throughout that entire phase. So how do you plan on maintaining that token price above ICO price for such a long period of time?
So it's one, that lock and gradual release of the token. And 2, it's going to be the continuous onboarding of new assets. And so that's going to bring additional value to the user base.
All right. Let's have the other ICO come back on stage, and time for us to crown a winner. Okay. Who will be crowned the champion of the Crypto World Tour here in Hong Kong? Let's have the judges please pick your winner. And tell us why.
Okay. This is a tough decision for me, but let me kind of explain what I like about both projects. I like Hodex. It definitely has a good use case, and definitely something that I think, going forward, I think a lot of, ICOs and projects will definitely lean on, depending on if the team can execute. Real estate has a great use case, and kind of relating to the questions my colleagues asked about previous real estate projects not doing well. Well, it seems like Real Fuel with the whole tokenization of real estate access is bringing a new dynamic to, real estate blockchain projects. And I think it's something that if they're able to execute would definitely be something a lot of people can rally on, when a bunch of people can own a piece of property like a commercial property. So it's not about whales and people that have a lot of money owning something. Like now everyone can own a little piece, and then once the property evaluates, everyone can make money. So that's the power of decentralization, and that's what I like. And I think if the team can execute, I think this is a very big idea. So I'll have to go with Real Fuel as my pick.
Oh, man. All right, so for me, it's a little difficult. I'm a huge fan of infrastructure projects, high-speed smart contract blockchains. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I wouldn't invest in either one of these projects simply because, and with all due respect, simply because my mindset is in infrastructure. I think crypto is not ready for real estate just yet. So for that reason, I would go with you guys. And the reason why is because I feel like your product is operational at this present time, and it can be implemented into this ecosystem at this present time. I do see real estate having a very massive adoption within the crypto space, just not at this present time. So for that reason, right?
Okay, so I'll start off with Matan first. Matan, I didn't realize that the roadmap for this project was so long, and that, in my mind, is a slight deterrent, knowing the fact that your team is able to execute quite strongly in the past. So I'm actually tempted to say, why don't you revisit the raise now, so temporarily stop the raise and possibly build out more of the product, of the platform, of the offering prior to coming and raising from the audience and from I guess the community. So that would be one piece of advice I would give the core team. In terms of Holdex, I really would like to see more of a regulatory investigation as to how it applies to your space. Have a look at your competitors. I'll be keen to hear whether you have done that competitive analysis of people who are currently or have produced something similar to what you're offering. Haven't heard that from you, but would like to sort of investigate a bit further. So on that point, given the fact that your roadmap is slightly shorter, but at the same time, what really holds me back is also your hard cap. The fact that you don't have a hard cap worries a lot of investors. There is a soft cap, but the reason for not having a hard cap is not strong enough, in my opinion. Oh, do you want to refute?
We have already existing product, right? So for us, the initial coin distribution is initial user acquisition. For us, it's not raising funds just to build something. For us, it's to have users who are going to use our product. So what we're going to sell, we're not going to sell the furniture. We're going to sell right now what they can get is like, I don't know, ticket to this cinema. Like, why should we restrict and say no?
Wait, so there's no hard cap? It's uncapped ICO?
No hard cap.
Is there a theoretical maximum hard cap? Is there a theoretical maximum hard cap if you were to sell all your tokens?
Theoretical, you mean?
How many tokens are you selling? Sorry to ask my questions.
What's your total token supply? So you're minting, you can mint it into perpetuity.
The token is access to the services.
When does the ICO end? When does the ICO end? The ICO.
It doesn't end.
It never ends?
It never ends.
Guys, just imagine like the same as you're saying, like what is the maximum amount of tickets are going to be sold in the MCR?
Yeah, but I mean, event ICOs like Eventus even had a hard cap.
Let's talk about ferries in Hong Kong. What is the maximum amount of tokens they sell? They sell tokens as well.
You're right.
What is the hard cap?
I mean, typically they do a raise, then they force people to buy tokens on exchanges if they want to get more tokens.
That's the difference between us and others. We're not hyping. We're not just selling the tokens just to hype. It's not, we are not traders. I'm personally not a trader. I'm doing that not because of the trading. I'm doing this because the blockchain enables certain possibilities which were not available before on the market. Like people before need to have an agreement, physical agreement. You need to have like stand with the postman, then the postman is bring into this like stock exchange, and then it goes through layers, and then the guy puts a stamp and so on. We envision it differently, and we have a partner for the group who invested in us. It's a crypto group. You can check them out. What they also have mintable tokens. The tokens is access to their services. Yeah, so this token is a utility token. It's a ticket, it's an access to the service. It's access to the service, it's not security. It's not that you bought it and that's it, and you kind of hold it, and then you resell it, and then you resell it back, and then it's like going down, and then it's over.
Why don't we take out that whole token strategy completely? Why do you need a token then? Why don't you just accept fiat,
good
BTC
question.
or ETH?
Good question. To accept fiat, what do we need to do? Do you know the like business?
Have a bank account that can actually accept all that money?
Bank account is one thing. We already have a bank account. You need to have a PSP service, right? Payment service provider. And so on and so on and so on. Then you have like people in Africa or people in Russia right now with all this like restrictions, everything. People in Middle East, they cannot access to the services. Why? Why they cannot buy this, the utilities and assets? Why?
Got it. Okay, this one's a hard one for me, I have to say. Can I refrain from picking one? Because I think I'm struggling here. I'll let you have the final vote, Ian.
Wow. Okay. So I'll say, Matan, first of all, you're a great presenter. You know, good character guy, stand-up guy. I loved your BitConnect type thing you did earlier. That was pretty cool. As mentioned before, real estate is a space I'm personally not bullish on. From my personal experience investing in that space, all right, and also just the data does not back it up. And then adding the fact that you have no full product for 24 months. Is that correct?
No, the security token exchange.
The security exchange.
The actual utility token will be ready much faster. So that's actually.
And when's the actual? Okay, go through your product roadmap again, just to make sure I have it.
Yeah.
Right.
So the crowdfunding of real estate platform, that's already done. That's built. That's already been functioning for a couple of years. Has already been proven as being successful. The token, the phase we're in now is the issuing of a utility token, which can be used as a method of payment on both platforms. And so that's actually going to be ready as soon as, I mean, that's very straightforward to do. That's something that we're looking at around 7 months to get that done.
And how do you plan to not be a propy again?
How do we plan to not be a propy in what sense? In the sense, I think
just
I've got
falling
nothing
off
against.
a cliff after.
Yeah, I got nothing against
money.
propy. I think you know, the race we're running is a little bit different than that particular race. So we actually, if you want to get into the mechanics, we have two tokens which are being issued. Both one's a utility token, one is a security token. The utility token is for access and payment, and then there is an ownership token, which is the security token. The utility token is a stable token, and the ownership token is the one that appreciates. So there's actually, that actually is what's...
Wait, so you get two tokens?
Well, so first we're launching...
deal?
It's right now the utility token, then when we launch the securities token exchange, then we issue a security token, which is the ownership token.
at a one-to-one conversion? Meaning if I have a million utility tokens, I also get a million
it actually
security tokens?
It's used differently. So when someone brings an asset onto the platform, they are basically getting paid with the utility token. And the security token is what is issued to people who are then buying into the assets. So by using the stable token, we're able to actually prevent the dumping of a price. So let's say someone who brings an asset onto the platform, they're going to get a lot of tokens. There is always the risk that someone would say, if we didn't do this, there'd be the risk that someone would take those and say, okay, I'm going to liquidate all now and take my cash.
Okay,
right?
I mean, so once the ICO is over, will people be actually using your token on your platform?
Yes.
Live
right.
on the platform? Okay.
Correct.
And then Holdex. Initially, I liked you guys. I mean, I thought you were the best out of the crowd here. But the token structure seems like it needs some work. So can you walk me through that again?
What exactly are you asking for? Are you asking about like how the funds are going to be distributed, or what is the...
I mean, you're having an ICO, but you can just keep on printing tokens, correct?
Correct.
So is there
token is a utility token. It's access to the services.
Correct. But
so
is there what's the total token supply?
The token supply will be defined by the market. The market need. People need access to our services.
It's infinity.
I mean, I wish, but I don't think so. I mean,
wow.
Everything has an end, right? But it's.
I mean, like for example, take a look at Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin doesn't keep on printing.
But it's a different thing. Bitcoin is a means of payment, right? It's a means of payment originally, but now it's a way of trading. It's
I mean, I understand what you're saying if you're just trying to get people to use the platform, but I feel like when you're doing an ICO and people are viewing this as an investment, then things are viewed differently. So that's the perspective I'm viewing that as.
That's true. But
so as an investor, when I see you just having the ability to infinitely print tokens, I mean, I've seen the issues people have had with Tether.
So, true. But by buying this token, they're not just giving us money to develop the product. By buying this token, they have access to the existing product, and the existing products are the utility tokens of others. I mean, it's security in the future. In the end of the day, soon it's going to be all security or payment means. By buying our token, they have access
from you guys?
If they want. I mean, if they want, they buy. If they don't buy. They just buy directly. We have decentralized exchange connected to our platform. They can go and like come with a EOS token, right?
I mean, so let's say in a hypothetical, let's say I'm a customer and I want to use the platform post ICO. Where do I get the tokens? Do I get them from you, or do I get them from an exchange?
We already have post-ICO clients, actually. And that's what I was saying. That's why we're trying to avoid saying that we're an ICO platform, because ICO has a special definition, right? People thinking, oh, people like raising funds, then they're disappearing for 5 years, maybe they will be back. That's not our case. We're doing initial coin distribution. So whenever you have a product, whenever you have an idea, if you have an idea and you want to run ICO, doing the fundraising, right? Then you issue a token and you do fundraising. You have a hard cap. If you have a product and you have access to a product like cinema or, I don't know, access to any other things like, I don't know, Tinder credits, whatever, you go, come, buy, and use. But there is a different structure, you're right. There is a different structure for our token, and our token is burnable. The token itself is burnable. Once you use it, once you enter the cinema, the ticket is ripped, and that's it. It's over. It's gone.
Infinite, but also burnable.
Yeah, it's burnable and mintable. That's why there is such a.
Anyway, in the interest of time, I'll keep this short. Yeah. First of all, I'll preface this by saying, this is not financial advice. Not a financial advisor. Do your own research. Consult a legal and financial advisor before investing in ICOs. Right? I'm not taking anybody else's circumstance into thought when evaluating these ICOs. Just my own. Right? I mean, to be honest, as Diego mentioned, we're very bullish on infrastructure projects. For the most part, we avoid dApps. We think dApps is not their time, similar to how Netflix. Imagine trying to invest in Netflix in 1990 when you have modems, right? It's not that Netflix is a bad idea. It's that it's not ready yet. We have to first get cable, fiber optic, all that stuff, all that infrastructure out there until products like that can actually survive on the platform. But anyway, long story short, I'm gonna go with Matan.
Thank you, Ian.
All right.
We appreciate it.
So hold on.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you to all
Now,
judges.
that does not mean I'm gonna invest. I'm just saying, today out of these projects, I think it's the better, for me personally, project to consider exploring further. All right. So Ugo, you chose Matan, and you chose Yusat. Okay. Anyway, so you are a winner. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ian.
And
thank you, judges.
Thank you for being part of the ICO pitch. And thank you to all the other ICOs. All right.
Thank you.
So with that being said,
Cheers.
let's go to the AMA. I know lots of you guys came here to ask questions. AMA is Ask Me Anything. So who has a question they would like to ask me, or even our panel of judges here as well? We can have them be part of the AMA. All right, so you have me. We have a crypto lawyer, Hong Kong's finest crypto lawyer, Diego and Ugo. All right, we'll just pass the mic around. Just raise your hand if you have any questions. It could be about ICOs, token metrics, the market, whatever.
Hi Ian and hi everybody. My name is Ben. I have been working with many blockchain projects over the year, and because I'm a tech guy, many of my friends say that why don't you just launch your own ICO? Then I keep thinking that I have been watching too much white paper, and then a lot of them after 1 year doesn't deliver. And then of course, if you just invest and then sell them in a good time, then you get the money. But what happened for the big money is that just going to the market and then they don't deliver. How do we handle that? This is a big problem. There's over the 2 years, the market has absorbed so many money. What about the losers? They are just going out of the market. I feel sad about that because I work for many projects that look very promising. But right now I'm still waiting for someone to really deliver something interesting. If that is the case, maybe I will go to the ICO market as well. Nowadays, because I think that I pick games and all, I find that some people just bullying others, and then I ask them, do you just want to pay some money, and I help them to make friends with those bullies, and that works. And every night, I'm making 1 to 2 ETH every night, right now. But this is not my work. I'm thinking that, am I going to do an ICO of that? But it's stupid, because I have so many white paper, and I think there's not a very good oracle, and then there is no real tokenomics. I would like to ask Ian, do you ever find some good game ICO that is really work and deliver? I want to learn about it.
Sorry, question again? Just to kind of. Are there use cases of ICOs that can deliver?
Especially in the game industry.
In the gaming industry?
Yes.
I mean, I think ICOs, no, nothing at the moment comes to mind for gaming. I've only done one gaming ICO, I believe, which was Mobile Go, which hasn't really done anything for the most part.
But I'm already making 1 ETH.
Yeah. I mean, but speaking of gaming, though, I will say, I mean, gaming has been one of the best use cases on blockchain. Looking at CryptoKitties, right? The most popular dApp on the Ethereum platform is a game, right? So it shows people do have value in games. And then, not sure if baseball is popular here in Hong Kong, but the MLB recently had a license agreement with a company to do trading cards on a blockchain, baseball cards on a blockchain, right? So I think that tradable assets as a game has value. I'm not sure if that would be valuable as an ICO per se. Right? In terms of gaming for ICOs, I don't really see anything that stands out. I know recently we're looking into Magnet Chain, which is a blockchain that is focusing on the gaming space. Gaming is just one of the niches they're kind of starting off with, and they kind of got some buzz by announcing a partnership with Epic Studios, which is which is the gaming studio that's known for making Fortnite, which is one of the biggest, if not the biggest game out there right now in the world. Right? They've been rumored to make, I think, about 3.5 billion in 1 year just from their gaming. Right? So I think gaming is definitely a space that could eventually evolve and be very bullish. But right now, in terms of an ICO, I don't think so. I can't really see anything.
just on your point about losers in this space, right? Investors who have lost out because they obviously didn't do their due diligence, or they did do their due diligence, but in actual fact, the project never was planning to deliver on anything. It was pretty much a scam, you know, right? Collect the money and run. Now, I think from a legal perspective, what you can do is definitely thoroughly check the SAF to the extent that you're able to negotiate anything in there in terms of changing provisions, a clause which clearly states that the core team member are not, well, actually, no, I've seen a really good SAF recently where the core team have said that they would refund 70% of the, I guess, the investment made by the investor if they do not deliver the project by a certain time period. So something like that, if you can negotiate that in the contract, you can definitely have a stop loss to your losses, right? There is possibly a chance of refund. Alternatively, a class action. I'm seeing more and more of that come to light in the sense that investors and ones that have been actually wronged would actually make a report to the SEC, SFC, and report on the projects where they feel they've been wronged. So these are definite alternative paths of recourse you may consider. But depending on how much you've put in, right? If you've only put in 1 or 2 ETH, probably not worth your while, but at least you can alert the regulators of such scammers.
Yeah, so I would have to agree with Ian in regards to aiming. I don't think there's any ICO that has really had an impact on the market, but I don't think that can relate to cryptocurrency in general, right? I mean, look at Ethereum. Where in the world on a Sunday night at 1 a.m. can you send $10 million across the world, you know, from the US to Hong Kong and cash out the next day, right? So cryptocurrencies obviously is completely apart from the gaming industry. But I think the gaming industry is going to have a mass adoption relatively soon. And in regards to ICOs running out with your money, that's why we need regulation. I mean, it's very simple. Regulation is mandatory in this space. And as a matter of fact, we're going through that phase as we speak. So hopefully the SEC can just, you know, make it happen, implement it, and then we could just move on, get the ETFs approved and the institutional capital to come inside and go to the moon, right?
Just wanted to add on that note, I think another thing that can happen, there's power in voice. So if you can have a rally group or a group of people that can really, you know, talk publicly about, you know, an ICO that didn't deliver. Because when you think of the timeline, you can look at November, December, January, a lot of money got into crypto as well. So I think these ICOs are not getting away with just saying anything and not promising, but we're starting to see a very big, you know, bear market where I think a lot of projects, you know, have not done what they say they're going to do. Naturally, it might take time, but I do believe a lot of ICOs are going to have a hard time raising funds now. They will have to prove themselves. I really do. With, you know, if this bear market kind of progresses, so time will tell. But to facilitate that and, you know, kind of make it faster, I think just have a rally group. Just you saying this ICO is bad is not enough, but when you have a good, large following of, you know, people saying this, then I think something would definitely be done, you know, before regulation or anything. So that's kind of how you can get in front of it, I would say.
So just to kind of add on to that, in terms of ICOs not really fulfilling their milestones. So Vitalik, the founder of Ethereum, had a proposal called, I believe, DICO, which is basically an ICO, basically a DAO and an ICO. As opposed to just taking all the funds up front, the funds basically get locked up into a smart contract, and then the community as a whole, whenever you achieve your milestones, will vote to release funds to the ICO, right? So as opposed to, let's say you raise 10 million, right? Let's say for each, and you have 10 milestones. For each milestone, the community as a whole can vote to give you 1 million after fulfilling each milestone. I think it's a great proposal. I think I'm very bullish on that. I think whenever there's any progress on that, it will help to clean up the space. Because right now there's so many scams out there, and it's really messing up the entire space for everybody. Other entrepreneurs, investors, and other people providing services in this space. So I think the DICO model definitely has some value.
Hi guys. Recently you guys traveled to India and Russia, excuse me. In India, you mentioned a project before you like Zebi, And outside of liquidity issues, what's your feeling in terms of how the project is progressing? And the second place you went to was Russia. And I know you passed over credits a while back. And how do you feel about the team now that you actually went and visited them?
Okay.
Subjective is fine.
Okay, let's start with Zebi. Zebi, I'm bullish on the project. I was an investor in the token sale. From talking with the CEO, Babu, we definitely got an update. I think they've been struggling with marketing. They kind of have a traditional way of doing business, and which is kind of the norm now with most people pivoting to ICOs. Because I've kind of seen a pattern. Lots of founders are having ICOs, but they themselves have never been part of an ICO, right? So it's kind of this whole new frontier for them, and they don't really have many people advising them, or if they are advising them, they aren't really paying attention to them. So I think with Zebi, the issue is really just kind of post-ICO marketing. I think that they're still executing, but just basic investor relations, right? Because you're basically building a community, and as you raise money, people now have a vested interest in the success of this project, right? And they want constant updates. And if you don't give them constant updates, and if you don't really give them news and even just better exchanges to get in and out of their holdings, then the sentiment begins to kind of become negative. And the project could still be executing, but if the sentiment is negative, it feels like the project sucks. And then it just kind of becomes contagious. So I think that's kind of the issue that, I think it's more of a marketing and PR issue they've been dealing with outside of the exchange issue. And then the other question was credits. We had a chance to visit the team. The team was trying to sell us hard on their project. We were not part of their token sale. Still have no plans to hold a token for the project. It's just, for us, at least for me personally, it's not something I'm bullish on, personally. With that being said, they do have updates with their product. They claim they'll be launching a testnet or a mainnet with almost 500,000 TPS, whatever that is, right? And they wanted to demo that on my channel, and I said, sure, why not? We can have an AMA, have the audience and the community come in and ask questions about the technology, right? I mean, so it is a real company, right? We can verify that. I went to the offices, real people, all that stuff, working on real products, but it's not something I'm personally bullish on.
What's the average pre-sale discount that you normally get when you invest in ICO projects? Like, what's, let's say, the highest and then the lowest?
I would say the highest is probably 35%, 40%. Lowest is just zero bonus. And that's because, meaning like there's no bonus, right? The reason, because me personally, from my own prior experience, right? Who here knows what happened with Carbonhead? With me, right? So Carbonhead came to us with 200% bonus, and I was like, sure, why not? All right, and let's say the community was not happy with that, and I got roasted publicly in the PR, the news. I mean, press was just talking about that. So ever since then, I learned my lesson, right? As somebody who's a public figure, I have to kind of have the community's interest at heart when investing. So even if an ICO offers me a large bonus, right? If anything, I've actually changed my spreadsheet and token metrics to penalize any ICO with a bonus over 40%. Anything over 40%, I say wait for the rebound, right? So if you saw my video from the last week, the best ICO of the month is actually not ChromaWay. Right? I am investing and advising in ChromaWay, but it's actually Multivac. But Multivac has a 100% bonus discount, whatever you want to call it. And I think that's not fair for people who are coming in later. I mean, sure, the seed investors were early, but now there's so much selling pressure that I think there'll be an opportunity to pick up the token on post-ICO on exchanges at around ICO price, or maybe even below ICO price, right? Even if there's a lockup, because they have a 3-month lockup. We've had calls with the team trying to negotiate that to them in terms of how to deal or solve that issue better. And I think a project that really has done it perfectly was Wabi, which is a project I was a part of in the pre-ICO. And pre-ICO investors got a token price of 3 cents. Wabi pre-ICO only raised about $300,000. Then the actual ICO was 25 cents, and they ended up raising about $12 million or so. And people who came in during the ICO were basically upset at people getting a very favorable deal at 3 cents, and they were afraid they would get dumped on. So what Wabi did, they basically said, okay, we'll give you 2 options, right? Their team thought about it and they said, you know what, the community is right. We have to stand by the community. And this was basically a make or break moment for Wabi. If they did not stand by the community, Wabi would not have done 100x, in my opinion, right? And just based on this move, I think they shifted the sentiment of the community from negative to from positive to negative, then after making this move to super positive. And what they did, they gave them 2 options. They said, well, anybody who was part of the seed round at 3 cents, we'll buy back your tokens at the ICO price, 25 cents, basically guaranteeing you 8x return without doing anything. If you don't like that, you can keep your tokens, but we're going to lock them up for 6 months in a smart contract. Right? So some investors were upset, but they had no option. They had to pick one or the other, either take the 8x or lock up your tokens for 6 months. And because of that, the sentiment really shifted, and people were confident that they would not get dumped on. Right? So I think that's a very good model. I think more ICOs should follow that model. Actually, I told Multivac to explore possibly doing a similar model, right? Getting people who are part of the seed round who got 100% discount to lock up the tokens for 6 or 12 months, or buy them back at an ICO price or at a higher price. But I think that's the way to go.
But when you do a buyback of tokens, isn't that crossing in the zone of securities?
That is not my area of expertise. I'll give it to the crypto lawyer.
So this is all negotiation prior to listing, right?
Oh,
so,
true, yes, yeah, got it.
So prior to listing, I think it should be fine. I've seen similar projects do similar, I would say, changes to the token price and the lockup period before they list. So anything is pretty much a contractual arrangement between you and the investor.
So pretty much for you, Ian, anything that has more than 40% discount, it's a red flag.
Yes. I mean, because besides the selling pressure post-ICO, it also shows you the team doesn't really value the token.
What if they lock it up longer? So let's say they give you 60%, but they say you gotta keep it 6 months or a year. Would that be a way to mitigate it?
I mean, I think that's more favorable, kind of like what Wabi did, right? Locking it up longer, right? So I think that's more that works.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dr. Elad Harrison from IGAN, and we actually run now the ICO itself. We finished the pre-sale, and thanks God we...
You said IGAN?
IGAN, yeah.
That's the Dragon Chain ICO.
It was.
Oh, it was.
Actually, we got a message from Dragon Chain at the last day of the pre-sale. Dragon Chain, first of all, wanted exclusivity. They raised about $1.3 million, and then at the last day, they got, cold feet out of the regulation in the US. So they canceled the ICO, and it's good that they canceled because by now we raised over 6,400 Ethereum, which is much more than what we had with the Dragon Chain. So I'm very happy with that. But anyway, my question is, considering the terms, the conditions in the market, what are your take regarding what's going to happen? Is it going to be bullish, bearish? Because we struggle. We had like our Israeli friends from Wings or Banker that did great a year ago, and things have changed in the market. So this is my first question. And the second question is referring to, Diego, sorry. You actually mentioned that you prefer to invest in platform projects as ours. And my question is why? Is it the matter that those projects are going to scale up, to become very widely adopted, very promising in this sense, or is it something that I actually miss out? Thank you.
Okay, so I'll answer. The question was about the market. When is it going to get better, right? That was the first question. I mean, if I knew the answer to that, I would be richer than ever, right? So, but I can't speculate. All I can say is, I don't think Bitcoin and the market is going to be this bearish for the whole year. Right? I think that would really be bad. Right? Maybe I'm just an optimist, but I think I'm very optimistic that the ETF news will be favorable. And similar to what happened recently, when people saw the ETF was up for review, the market kind of picked back up. Once it got pushed back, I kind of expected it to be pushed back because that's what governments do. They would just kind of give themselves more time if they have the option for more time. But I think now that they'll have an actual deadline, I think the same thing is going to happen. But I expect the ETF to get passed. That's kind of my take. I think this is the first time I'm actually saying this, but we'll see. And I think if that happens, then we're all going to the moon.
I thought as well. I mean, I didn't ask for prophecy, but just for intuition.
Well,
but
I gave you both.
Yeah, I really hope that we are all going to be optimistic on that point. Thank you.
So just to add to that, the date to look for is September 30th. That's the ETF, the primary ETF was postponed. So that's the new date to look for. So hopefully we get good news, and it definitely, that should give the market more stability. Now, in regards to the infrastructure question, it's actually very simple. That's why Ian does what he does, the token metrics, right? And the quantitative and qualitative data. So if you look back at all the best performing ICOs, they have all been infrastructure, which makes perfect sense to want to only invest in infrastructure projects, right? So historically, they have been the best performing ICOs. So the data doesn't lie, right? So.
What's your opinion? I mean, why is it that infrastructure did great? Do you have like any insights?
Sure. So scalability was a big issue, right? In December, we saw that the Ethereum network was actually getting clogged up. One of the reasons was CryptoKitties, right? So at a market cap of, I think it was like 830 billion, the network started really getting clogged up, which led to scalability issues. So then that's when all these infrastructure projects started to appear, such as Icon, Zilliqa, EOS, so on and so forth. So in my opinion, in order for cryptocurrency to really get the mass adoption, we needed the scalability, and infrastructure projects was going to give cryptocurrency the scalability to really have the capacity to manage millions of transactions per second. So that's why.
So to add on to that, infrastructure projects have performed well for the most part because they're actually being used. Right? The rest of the projects are, for the most part, dApps that are not being used. Right? So look at Ethereum. People are sending, if you look at the transaction volume on networks, right, and compare that with transactions or just the utility on a dApp, right, they have much more utility and people are actually using them. People are sending Bitcoin back and forth. People are sending Ethereum back and forth. Even the dApps are working on Ethereum, right? So platforms really have value because they have network effects. They let other developers build on top of them, and they can build the next possibly great dApp on their platform, right? Because any dApp out there is building on a platform. So if the dApp has value, the platform by definition has to have even more value.
I just have a quick question. What do you think about an ICO that tokens been burned? There's certain projects that wishes they buy back the tokens and burn it.
What do I think about ICOs burning tokens? I love it. I think it's amazing. Right? I think the lower the token supply, the more scarce, the better. Right? I think if you actually look at the data, I haven't done this, but just kind of going from my personal experience, projects that burn tokens, right? Let's say they don't sell all the tokens and they burn them, they usually end up doing well. One example was Horizon State, right? An ICO I was bullish on, but didn't invest because I doubted their ability to get onto a good exchange and be liquid, right? So I figured might as well just wait it out. And their hard cap was raising $60 million. They only ended up raising $2 million. So all the other tokens that were up for sale, they burnt them. And just by doing that, the people who got in, I think automatically got a 7x return on their money, right? Actually, sorry. Actually, you know what? They didn't burn their tokens. Actually, I have to change everything now. I'm sorry. They did an airdrop. Okay, so I don't like burning tokens anymore. So all the tokens they had available for sale, they gave them as an airdrop to people who were part of the token sale. So they got 7x return just by being in the token sale. And then after that, it ended up doing 100x, right? So I think that's one of the best case studies. So actually, I'm sorry, scratch everything I said. I don't like burning tokens. I like giving airdrops to people who are part of the token sale because of examples like that. Anybody here want to chime in?
Well, I like to take the contrarian view to that. I actually personally like token burns because it reduces the supply, scarcity, and therefore will theoretically have an increase in value in that token price.
Very well explained. I think that's pretty clear. I think, I mean, they're both great answers. Yours, obviously, it's a formula, right? And then Ian's is based on the data. So they're both great options for token burning or airdrops.
To me, there's so many of them. Which one should we actually use? I mean, there's Ethereum, there's all these new ones.
Which one to use?
Yeah, if I was a developer, which one would I choose to use? Should I be choosing EOS? Should I be using Neo? I have no idea.
Good question. So as a developer, what platform should you use? I would definitely not use Neo. I'm going to call it spade a spade. From developers I've spoken with, they've said Neo's marketing is ahead of their development. And then you also have a history of ICOs raising money via Neo and then pivoting and leaving Neo. Right? Phantasma, a project I'm advising and invested in, is now forking, doing their own blockchain. I think Apex as well did the same thing. They raised via Neo, then they pivoted and now are making their own blockchain. Right? So I think Neo hasn't really lived up to what they claim to be doing. If I was a developer and I was building a platform, I mean a dApp, I would use Ethereum because Ethereum has the biggest community.
I'm not a developer myself, but just having invested in a few protocols, I don't think any of them really have delivered up to what they claim their white paper has proposed to do. So I think we're yet to see the protocol to come into this space, and it's a sit and wait game for us.
It's very simple. You don't break what's not broken. Ethereum is widely adopted. Everybody has, the majority of the crypto space has pretty much adopted Ethereum and built on top of it. So I would say go with Ethereum. I agree with you.
Yeah, for me, I think I would explore other new blockchains. I kind of like Icon. I would say I like the transaction speed. It seems they haven't done a whole lot of marketing, but from what I've done within the platform and what I've heard, I think is a pretty, strong platform. It's pretty instant. Ethereum obviously has a big community, has proven that it can handle, but I still think it has scalability issues. So I think maybe in the future we'll see a platform that can actually, solve that.
Just want to add on to that. So going back to Ethereum. So Ethereum now has gotten such a widespread adoption that even new products, new protocols are using Ethereum's virtual machine on top of their platform. So projects like QuirkChain, projects like Tolar, these are new high-speed blockchains that solve the scaling issue, but let you, as an Ethereum developer, port your Ethereum dApp from Ethereum onto their protocol without making many changes to the actual dApp itself, right? But if you go and use some other different protocol, you're basically starting from scratch. So I think because of the community effects, and then also new projects really trying to maintain compatibility, one other project also out there is RSK, Rootstock, right? They're also, I believe, using the Ethereum virtual machine that lets you run Ethereum dApps on Bitcoin, right? So because of now the versatility Ethereum is becoming, I think it's kind of the main protocol as a developer I would use. so other ICOs kind of having like a fund to invest in projects. I think it's something projects are trying to do to go to market and get adoption because they know Ethereum has the head start, right? So EOS has, I think, what, $1 billion VC fund to entice developers. Is it $1 billion, something like that? 4 billion? Anyway, we just know they have a large war chest of money they're using to entice and get developers to join their platform. And I think even QuirkChain is doing that as well. I've seen news of QuirkChain investing in ICOs, other ICOs, to kind of, I guess, get them into the ecosystem and have them build on their protocol.
Hello. Yeah, so Ian and Diego, you guys mentioned that you guys will continue to invest into infrastructure and protocol projects. But I guess 2017 is more like a blockchain year, we call it. And it's been a year right now that all these projects are getting matured and start to build their ecosystem. So would you guys think that there will be a shift to more like a paradigm that may be more depths that should be filling in all these rails and roads, more like cars, to basically fill that up, maybe have a shift to the depths right now? Or you guys continue to think that it's going to be infrastructure in the short term?
I think the shift will happen, just not this year. I think whenever we have that, I would say the first 5 breakaway dApps, then you see people kind of start to go to dApps, right? So until really we solve scalability issues, because I think it's a big issue, because dApps, applications like Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, or whatever, can't run on a blockchain, right? Until we solve all the infrastructure problems to a point where those applications can work on a blockchain and nobody knows they're working on a blockchain, you're not really going to see dApps start to really see that big trend or that big shift. So I think that big shift will come once we're kind of nearing that threshold where, okay, oh wow, this protocol can really handle the next Facebook, the next Uber, the next Airbnb, the next YouTube on its blockchain, on its protocol. I think as we get closer to that, then we'll start to see the race of people trying to invest in the next Uber and the next dApp on a blockchain.
Yeah, so I'm still very bullish on infrastructure projects. And the reason why is because they keep evolving. So now you're seeing infrastructure projects add sidechains, interoperability as well, right? And in regards to dApps, I think dApps are really going to take a boom once the issue with microtransactions it's solved. So once you're actually able to spend cryptocurrency directly from the source, I think that's when dApps are going to get the adoption that that the space is going to require. Because right now they use third-party services in order to make transactions. So whoever receives the capital immediately sends them to the bank account. So nobody's really holding the crypto as a form of payment. The third party goes directly to fiat. But once the microtransaction, like I said, once the microtransactions issue gets solved, then that's when I see dApps kind of just taking a boom.
Quick question. Why do you think EOS hasn't quite taken off in the minds of maybe developers and others to start using it? Like they have $1 billion to entice developers, huge marketing push before the mainnet, madness going up to $15-20. Now it's back down. Why do you think it hasn't really taken off?
I think one of the reasons is it's not really decentralized, right? And I think that's something that developers look for when they want to build on a platform, right? No, I think one example, I think EOS is an ability for EOS to go and kind of play with the smart contract and pause and interfere with it with their blockchain, right? For example, I think there was recent an EOS hack or bug, and they kind of like froze the blockchain or did something, interfered, right? And that's something that developers don't like doing, so that could be a possibility. And I think also just the fact it's not really decentralized. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for everything. It's been a pleasure. This concludes the Crypto World Tour here in Hong Kong. I want to thank each and every single one of you for being here. I want to thank our judges for being part of this event as well. And now it is time for the photo session. So if you want to take any pictures, any selfies, or just say hi with me or even people up here, feel free to come. We'll be here for the next 20 to 30 minutes or so before we have to leave. All right, thank you so much.
Shut us down, 100 days. I got it now. Yeah. Took me a moment to decode the data. Spreading the sheet, I'm unloading the paper. I see you'll know that they owe me a favor. Say what you see, I got no indicator. Load up your team with the dopest of players. One more review, see it, no, see you later. And that's how my growth is so major. Yeah. I just 100x on my lifestyle. Moon landing satellite stack. Crew dancing cause the new fans win 102 grand for my inside swag. Still do your research. Learn how it feel to be first. Cause the world's are turning into church. Yeah. Learn a sermon every word. Yeah. 100x is you deserve. Yeah. 100x is doing words. Yeah. 100x until the dirt. Yeah. 100x is what occurred. From the token metrics and some nerds. And now I'm respected in the word. Cause 100x at every turn. Yeah. Mark it up. Mark it down. Matter what. Still around. Moon is up. Sun is down. 100x. I got it now. Mark it up. Mark it down. Matter what. Still around. Moon is up. Sun is down. 100x. I got it now. 100x. 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 Moon is up. Sun is down. 100x. I got it now. Mark it up. Mark it down. Matter what. Still around. Moon is up. Sun is down. 100x. I got it now. Yeah.